Women are affected more than men on this, and I think it's time we address it. I think it's time we spoke about it, and I think it's very important that we spoke about some of the things that affect us, especially when it comes to domestic violence. The rate at which domestic violence is occurring in South Africa is rapid. It is ridiculous. It is shocking at how the stats are converting. And if something has to reach President Cyril Ramaphosa's desk, it means that it is quite serious and none of us could actually remedy it. So in today's vlog, we're talking about how you can deal with domestic violence. In the month of August, we're celebrating women, we're celebrating the epitome of women, we're celebrating women empowerment, and it is so important that we understand what domestic violence is and how you can deal with it. If you want to know more about that, then do keep on watching. Hey Royal Family, this is the front row with myself, Roanna Moodley. It is such a crucial time in South Africa, especially now with the COVID-19 pandemic globally, but still South African women are abused. Still, South Africa faces a huge problem. This may be such a big problem here in South Africa, but I know globally it is something serious too. Today we're talking about how to deal with domestic violence. If you are a survivor of domestic violence, if you are someone that may be going through domestic violence, or if you are someone that is not sure if you are in a relationship or with a partner that is domestically abusive to you, then perhaps this video will be very, very useful to you. For me, I didn't really understand what the dynamic was until I spoke to a lot of people who were being abused domestically. And the fundamentals before actually dealing with how to deal with domestic violence is actually knowing what domestic violence is. There's different kinds of domestic violence, and sometimes women may not realize that they are actually being abused. The first kind of abuse is your very obvious, which is physical abuse. With physical abuse, a woman can be bruised, a woman can be seen to show signs of being abused. This type of abuse is very common. It is very easy to detect, and often women can also hide the fact that they have been physically abused. There's often a woman that would come into the workplace, or they would go to a gathering where they're meeting people that they know, and they would cover up their abuse with makeup, or they'll talk about something else, or they'll say they bumped against a wall or fell down the stairs. When you are making excuses for your partner who has damaged your body in a certain way, that means you are abused and you need to do something about that. The second type of abuse is sexual abuse. Know this very well. When you are married, you can also be raped. You can also be abused by your partner. And it is very important to understand what sexual abuse truly is. It means it is not consensual. It is something that you are forced to do. And if you're forced to do something sexually, it is abuse and you need to seek help. It is not okay for someone to force you to do something that you do not want to do. It is not okay for someone to think it's okay because you're in a relationship with them, because you're married to them, because you've been doing it with them for a long time, or you've been with them for a long time, that they can just claim it. That's not okay, and that's not how it works. If you feel that you don't want to give in to sexual predators, then you must do something about it. This is such an important thing to do because there's so many people out there that feel that it's okay to let this one slide, or he or she is just like that. Know the signs and realize the signs and do something about it. The next kind of abuse is emotional abuse. Does your partner abuse you, belittle you in public and personally? Do they make you question your self-worth? Do they put you down at any moment? If someone gives you praise, do they compliment you? Or do they share the same sentiments? Or do they brush it out? or make you think that that person is lying. All these forms of emotional torture is abusive to you, and you should understand the difference. If your partner is not supporting you, if your partner is not in the right frame of mind to understand that you deserve praise and your self-worth is as important as theirs is, then you're in an abusive relationship and you must do something about it. The next type of abuse is probably something that was quite surprising to me because I didn't put it in a basket of abuse. It's actually called economic abuse, where your partner forces you to give up your career, to be financially dependent on them, so that no matter what, you are needing your partner. They put so much stress on you to leave your life and follow theirs that you then become so dependent on them, especially financially, that you cannot leave the relationship. This type of abuse is probably so popular, but we don't realize that it's abuse because we think that our partner actually cares about you. When a partner actually cares about you, and if you are saying that you don't want to stop working, they should understand that and they should be okay with that. If they're forcing you and they're becoming agitated and they're getting irritated with the fact that you actually want to do something with your own life and be independent, red flags should come up, because that is a problem. They have a problem with your independence and they want you to be financially dependent on them so they can control you. And the last type of abuse is psychological abuse. This type of abuse works so much in the mind. It's something that is not seen. People don't know it. Your friends, your family may not even see it because there's nothing physical they can't see. It's all in the head, it's all in the brain. They instill fear in you, they intimidate you, and what they like to do is they like to isolate you. So for example, if you're out to dinner with your friends and your family, they might be cheerful, they might be warm, they might be just wonderful, and then dare you say something that they may think is out of the ordinary or that's a little bit different, then what they do is they'd grab your hand a little bit tight, or they would go home and then, say something to you that would make you feel so small, make you feel so worthless. So this type of abuse is very, very intelligent. It uses words that will make you feel like you are not worthy. It really, really is a catalyst in your downward spiral of self-worth. And I probably think more than physical abuse, psychological abuse is far more dangerous for one's self-esteem, because you start believing all the abusive things that people say to you. And you know what, these types of abuse that I just mentioned, it doesn't only reside in a love relationship. It also resides in the workplace. It also resides in a friend dynamic. It also resides when you're with your family. So it's very important to understand if you are being abused. There were many times that I was in a work environment where I was abused psychologically. I was abused because people would say things to me that would be belittling. They would say something to me that would make me question if I was actually worthy to do the job that I needed to do. And I often, while going through it, I often thought that perhaps they were right because they were superior to me in position, they were more seasoned than me, and maybe I needed to learn something. But as I grew and as my knowledge grew with age, I realized that they were actually abusing me psychologically. And it's not okay to tolerate that. It's not okay to be bullied by someone who thinks that they're better than you. It's not okay for someone to make you feel that you are unworthy of doing the thing that you're doing. If someone is giving you criticism, make sure that the criticism is helpful. Are they being critical of you and giving you constructive criticism, or are they just saying things that will just abuse you mentally, or abuse or taint your view on how you need to get things done or move forward in life? It's very important to really observe the people around you. Are they lifting you up, or are they putting you down? It's also very important to really pay attention to how you feel when you're around someone. When you're around someone, do you feel agitated? Do you feel uncomfortable? Do you feel like you actually want to leave the room? There has been so many instances where I have been with people, whether it was friends or family, where the moment I was around their presence, I literally did not want to be there. But I forced myself to be there because it was something that I had to be at, or it was a family gathering, or it was a function that I had to be at. But if you're feeling uncomfortable, listen to those signs, listen to those feelings, because they speak volumes. Doubt means no. And when someone is abusive to you, they may do it in such a minor way. They may do it in small ways that may seem little. But if they continue to do it, it is abuse and you must stand up for it. So now we know the different kinds of domestic violence. Now let's talk about how we can deal with it. The first thing you want to do is to develop a safety plan. When you are being abused, whether it is emotionally, psychologically, economically, or physically, you have to understand that if you are going to leave this particular relationship, especially when it is a very, very severe case, if it is a case where you are actually living with this person, or you are around this person day in and day out, then you need a plan of action. What are you going to do? How are you going to escape? And what is your safety plan? Do you have children? Is this person involved in your children's life? If you have to leave this relationship, is your life safe? Will they come after you? What is your safety plan? And you have to draw it up, and you have to draw it up very, very thoroughly. The next step leads into calling for help. Often when you are being abused, when you are a victim of abuse, you go through it silently. You may not necessarily want to talk to even your closest friend or family member. And that's a scary, scary ordeal. If you have children, it's also even more scary because you're not going through this alone. Children will know what's going on in the home. If you are going through it in the workplace, if you're going through it with a friend or family member, more often than not, victims go through it alone. And it is so important to be brave enough to take the plunge and ask for help. There are so many good people out there, and I promise you, if you just ask for help with one person, you will get the help that you need. You have to be brave enough to speak up to someone and to get help fast, because the more you leave it in silence, the darker your space will become and the harder it is going to be for you to leave. The third step is to seek medical help. You can speak to a psychiatrist who is professional in this game. You can speak to crisis centers who often have psychologists and other people that are trained to assist you. You could possibly even speak to a physical trainer who can train you if you are abused physically, and you can train yourself to defend yourself. Whatever the case is, it is very important to seek professional help and to seek the help that you require. If you don't have the funds to help you seek the necessary help, there's many crisis centers that offer free help to abused women and children, to abused young people, and you can ask for their help and they will give you the necessary guidelines for you to get out safely. And the last step is so important. If you are living with someone that is very, very dominating, that has forced you to stop working, that you are financially dependent on, that abuses you physically, that belittles you, that isolates you, that doesn't let anyone know about you, then it is important that someone knows whether you're alive or not. It is important for you to make friends with your neighborhood. It is important to speak to your family member when your partner or your friend or whoever it is that's abusing you is away, so that they know where you are at all times. Because God forbid, if something has to happen, they will be able to find you as quick as possible. Especially if you have children, it becomes so much harder. It is important that you care for them first and you seek the help and you speak to your community so that you can get out and you can get out safely. The domestic violence stats is growing exponentially, and it is such a sad thing that we're witnessing here in South Africa and also globally. And together we can be a voice to help those in need. And together we can stand together as strong women to help each other, to pull each other out of the darkness. If you are a victim, please know that you're not alone. There are many, many others like you. There's brave women that has also recovered from the situation, and you can get out and you can seek help. You can comment below, you can message me, I can find the necessary help for you if need be, or you can speak to someone. Whatever you choose, choose yourself. And if you have children, it is even more important to choose yourself now before it is too late. I thank you so much for choosing the front row. This has been such an eye-opener for me to actually learn so much about domestic violence. It crushed my heart when I started reading the stories, and I really thought it was important for us to share this, for us to talk about it, and for us to really do something about it. Comment below, let me know what your story is, if there is one. Like this post and also hit that subscribe button so that we can grow and make the awareness greater. I'll catch you on the next video. Ciao.